Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our meeting of Monday, September 9th. I'd ask everyone to please stand for the national anthem.
It's playing, but it's really low.
Okay, thank you, everyone, and again, welcome to all members of council, staff, and the public. We will we'll call the meeting to order. Are there any declarations of pecuniary interest or the general nature thereof? Seeing none, motion to accept the agenda. Deputy Mayor Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Massey, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry accepts the agenda of the regular meeting of Council on Monday, September the 9th, 2024.
Okay, thank you. No additions or deletions? Any discussion on the agenda? All those in favor? Motion is carried. None opposed. Moving on to the adoption of the previous minutes. Councillor Massey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Manley, that the minutes of the following meetings be adopted as circulated. Regular meeting of Council, August 12, 2024.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion on the minutes or errors or omissions? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. None opposed. Moving on to delegations. Engineering designs for Maxville and District Sports Complex Arena Slab replacement. And I'd like to welcome EVB Structural Engineer Greg Estale. Welcome, Greg.
Hello. Yeah, thank you, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for allowing us to come in and present the design. The Maxville rink slab replacement, I think everyone here is very familiar with the rink, but I'll just go through and give some general details and information on the rink, and then I can I'll go through the drawings and present the design. So the building was constructed in 1978. It's a steel frame, pre-engineered steel frame and masonry construction. Very typical type building or similar building of arenas that you'd see throughout North America. It's a single pad arena, so the rink measures 85 by 200 feet, which is very close to NHL size. Which is nice. Often community rinks are not that large. Most are a little bit smaller in width or length or something, but it's nice that Maxville has the size to achieve the full 85 by 200. Bleachers on one side. Opposite the bleachers on the other side of the rink are the benches, penalty box, timekeepers. The northwest corner of the rink is the mechanical room, refrigeration, and Zamboni area. South of the main rink area is the lobby area. It has a canteen, 2 washrooms. To the west of the main lobby area is the dressing room area. And to the east of that little lobby is the community room. The scope of work, so on I guess the next slide is I've sort of presented a general scope of the project. The rink slab is based on its age. The rink slab and the components that are embedded in the rink and the dasher boards are well beyond their expected design life expectancy. So the focus of this project is on the dasher board and on the rink slab replacement. But along with that, there's a few other items that are sort of included with the scope of this proposed project. The refrigeration room, the equipment in there, there was a new condenser in 2019, various upgrades, annual maintenance. So this project does not, there's a control panel replacement, but other than that, most of the work is outside of the refrigeration room, deals mainly with the rink slab. If I go through the drawings, so there's mechanical, electrical, structural, architectural drawings. This first slide, or this first drawing, is the demolition plan. So within the rink area, the entire rink slab, so the rink slab, for those that you don't know, it's a 5-inch concrete slab with embedded cooling pipes in the slab. So they're usually 1 inch to 1.25 inch piping, very close on center, 4-inch on center. The cooled brine is pumped through the slab, and that's how the slab's cooled. It goes back to the refrigeration room, mixes with the ammonia, cools it back, the brine back down. The brine recirculates back out, and the process continues. That's how, in general, how the rink slab functions. So in this case, to do the renovations to replace the rink slab, the entire rink area, the slab concrete area has to come out. There's an apron area around the perimeter of the slab as well. A good portion of it needs to come out and be reformed to form the new radius of the new slab. There's a gondola area, like an elevated platform area in the south east corner of the rink area. There's new stairs. We're taking the old stairs out, putting new stairs in there. In the southwest corner, there's a viewing area and a platform, accessible platform. The existing wooden structure is going to be replaced as part of this project. Out in the lobby area, the main work out in the lobby area is associated with flooring replacement. So you'll see that much of the flooring, or most of the flooring through all the dressing rooms, the vestibule and lobby and the washrooms will come out, be replaced with a sports flooring or or ceramic tile. The next slide, just one back, is the so this depicts the new rink slab. So the new rink slab that goes in, there's a supply and return header. So the existing header now, which supplies the cooling brine to the arena, is on the end zone. So it's on the far west end zone outside of the rink area. That'll come out, be infilled, and the new header, the way they do the rinks, or mechanically the way the rinks are typically done now, is that new header gets buried. You'll see it just inside where the blue line would be, and then the smaller 1.25 inch pipes feed off of that header in each direction to cover just the area of the rink. So as well, first you'll pour the new exterior apron slab, and then the rink slab gets poured after that. You can also see the new accessible ramp and accessible viewing area, and the new arrangement and layout for stair access up to the viewing gondola. The next one is the next drawing is for the dasher board and bench layout. So the new rink, again, it'll be NHL size. It'll follow NHL radius corners, 28-foot corners, 85 by 200 foot clear dimensions. Blue, all the line work will match with required or latest NHL standards. The bench layout is going to be similar to what the bench layout is now, except you'll see there are pass-through doors, so that there will be doors so that staff, rink staff, and coaching staff for the teams can access, completely access the benches without having to walk onto the ice. So I think a good safety upgrade there. The next is the new flooring. So again, new flooring throughout the access ways out to the rink, and then through the lobby, down the hall to the dressing rooms, and throughout the dressing rooms. That's a new glue applied sports flooring, and then new ceramic tile in the vestibule and lobby. And then next one is the line painting. So there'll be new line painting applied over the concrete floor. You'll see we have the tennis court, a pickleball court, and a tennis court, pickleball court, and a basketball court. Lines painted. Next slide. This shows the close-up of the new arrangement for the gondola access stair and the viewing platform. Similar locations to where they are now, just a little bit larger, and where the gondola stair is, just try to open up that space below with the new rink configuration. Mechanically, so on the mechanical drawings, again, you can see where the old header, it was outside of the rink area. Now that's being moved into below the rink slab, just inside the blue line. Other mechanical upgrades, there's a new control panel. So this would be the only work that's actually taking place inside the refrigeration room, is a new control panel that basically controls the ice plant. The old panel is quite old, and we're taking the opportunity to change that at the same time here. There's also a carbon monoxide monitoring system that's going to be introduced. This would be, if I think the Zamboni is electric, but if you ever need it, if they had a car show or there's any gas-powered vehicles or a gas-powered Zamboni was ever needed, you need the carbon monoxide exhaust system. There's also a little bit of, by the new gas code, there's some venting modifications that need to be done with the bleachers, the way they're vented right now. So in general, that's the scope of work of the project, or the proposed scope of work. As for the construction estimate, so right now, the total construction estimate is just over $2 million, $2,008,000 is what we're sitting at right now. The main ticket items on that, the larger items, would be the amount, the demolition work, so item 3. Item 5 is the forming, rebar, and finishing for the new concrete slab. Under item 11 is the in-slab, the new header and the new piping, so the mechanical refrigeration piping inside the slab, and then of course the new dasher board system. So they would be the 4, I guess, largest ticket items that contribute to the total cost. Included as well with that would be the administration and the testing and inspection costs to review and manage the project. Schedule-wise, the design documents they're scheduled to be done, and we have another meeting with Ann and her team. But shortly after that, we hope to finalize the documents, and close to the end of September, early October, the documents should be complete and ready for tender. Construction schedule. So a project like this, typically it would be done between seasons, between the hockey or between the ice season, when the season's out or when the ice is out in the summer. So a 5-month period, April, May, June to the end of August. So that's 5 months. It's a fairly tight schedule. Often the project runs a few weeks or up to a month into the early season, but the plan would be a 5-month construction schedule to get it done in that timeline. Yeah, that's I guess a general overview of the project. And I don't know if you have anything else or if there's any questions.
Okay, well, thanks for your presentation. I have a couple questions. Is there anything in the scope that could be removed without, like, obviously the major part of the construction is the slab and the boards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are there components that could be removed out of this?
Yeah, I would say there's a few architectural components. Some of them are sort of ideal to, like the new stair and the accessible viewing platform. I think I would advise that they remain because they need to come out anyways to do the new construction. The flooring work in the lobby, that's maybe one item, I guess, that would potentially could come out, as it's sort of non-related to the rink area work.
So not a great amount of,
No, I think that item is 150,000. We do have a pretty high contingency carried right now, but, you know, with older buildings or when you start excavating, there's often surprises that come up, so you typically would want to carry a decent contingency.
Ann?
So through you, Mr. Mayor. So
Yeah.
the flooring, I'd just like to state that the rubber mats would have to come out no matter what, because they're way past their life cycle. At this point, I think every time staff or players come out of the change rooms, the mats move and have to be replaced. So we know that that's an item that would be part of the scope. So you're looking at removing basically the ceramic tile, and that's the access into the lobby. And I must admit, that's something that I asked Greg to add, because I figure we can repaint, we can do all of that, but to give the lobby a new look, new ceramic tile would really be welcome in that space. So that would be about the only component I think that could be
Yeah.
removed.
Yeah, the ceramic tile, and then if, maybe some of the rubber flooring
Yeah.
down to the dressing rooms, but yeah, you're right, there is some matting and flooring out in the cold space of the rink area that would need to be replaced, so there is still some flooring.
Okay. Councillor Manley?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, Ann, what are we looking at for grants for this, for funding?
So the ministry just issued a new grant, and that's a grant match 50% up to $1 million. So I'm working presently, pardon me. So the grant is 50% up to $1 million, and we're working presently, the Director of Finance and the CEO and myself, to try to figure out how we would go about financing the remaining amount. There's some money that we've already asked council to put into reserves. As you can recall, the tendering for the engineering came under what we had expected, so that money is going to be going back. I expect some savings from some of the capital projects this year, and we were speaking about that. We'd go to reserves, and I think in the next little while we'll bring back a plan to council.
Okay, thank you. Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, well, at first I was thinking, was there any way we can phase this project? But I don't see that there's any opportunity for that here. One thing for sure is, in my mind anyway, we don't want to miss out on funding, particularly when it's significant funding. The challenge is the balance. So I guess you guys will put your heads together and see if there's something you can do. So anyway, thank you for your report.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Madden?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Excuse me. Quick question about Class A, the 5 to 10% accuracy and the 10% we already have in there as contingency. Should we presume that the 2 is our worst case scenario, or does that 10% mean that we could be looking at 2.2?
Yeah.
And if we go over 2.2, who are we talking to?
Yeah. I think we try to have our estimates on the higher end of things. There are comparables for some other rinks that have been done in the area. They're not exactly the same. There are differences. So I'd like to say or hope that we're at the higher end of things. I mean, prices of materials are up and down all the time, and supply and demand. But I'd like to think that we are on the higher end of our estimate. But yeah, it is a 10%, 5 or 10%, and could be
Okay.
up or down a bit, yeah.
And then, so who do we talk to?
Councillor Massey?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I know earlier in the year we had talked about a structural engineer report on the arena itself, and I can't recall if we ever got. I know we talked about it, but it'd be important to, before we do put a lot of money in the ring slab, that will make sure that the roof and the whole thing is still good for a number of years.
So through you, Mr. Mayor, actually the structural report was for the east wall, and we talked quite at length about that, and it's supposed to, a steel post building, so basically it's some brickwork that would probably have to be redone, and that could be included in the scope of the project if we felt that the need could be. But the option there is not to touch the wall either, because we don't feel that there's going to be significant impact to the project.
No, it's a totally separate, there is some damage to that east wall. There's actually some masonry damage
Yeah.
all around that rink, but that could be totally separate or work or remedy that's addressed separate from the rink slab replacement project.
Go ahead.
And there was a condition study, I think, recently done.
We did the
right?
footing
Yeah.
also, yeah.
So before we go ahead with this project, which I think is very much needed, and just council will decide, it's not a go because we're presenting that tonight, it's just that there'll be later discussions to go for.
There's a report coming back to
Yeah.
the next council
Okay.
meeting, because I think we have to apply by the end of September,
By the mid-October.
mid-October, so it'll come back at the next
Yeah,
council
so just
meeting.
that
with
people on Facebook, whoever's watching, don't think we're going out spending.
Well,
killing
it sounded like you just voted for it. Further questions or comments at this point? Seeing none. Thanks, Greg. Appreciate the report. Very thorough, so. And to answer your question, Mike, we would call Eamon. Yeah, we're gonna get on him. Yeah, just got to throw him under the bus. I mean, he has his name first, so I hope you're watching, Josh. Okay, thank you. So moving on to staff reports, Community Service Department designation process for properties to the municipal register. Councillor Manlon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moving myself, seconded by Deputy Mayor Williams, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry receive staff report CS 2024-22, designation process for properties to the municipal register, and that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry directs staff to proceed with the designation process to the municipal register for the following properties as recommended by the Arts, Culture, and Heritage Committee. Private property, St. Elmo Presbyterian Church, 192 County Road 20, Maxville. Private property, St. Elmo Congregational Church, 18191 Kenyon Concession 19, Maxville. Private residence, 6 Church Street, Maxville. Private residence, 101 Center Street, Alexandria. Private residence, 53 Dominion Street, Alexandria. And commercial property, 209 to 215 Main Street North, Alexandria.
Okay, thank you. And
Thank you,
Greg,
Ms.
Greg, you don't have to, seriously, you don't have to stay. Nobody does, so I'm giving you the out.
Nobody wants to stay for my 87-page report?
Yeah.
I'll go to the bathroom, I'll be back.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Ann.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So earlier in 2024, Council was informed that there were several changes to the Ontario Heritage Act, and that was introduced through Bill 23. Since that time, there has been some more changes, and one of them is the postponement. The deadline was moved until January 1st, 2027. Even though there's a postponement to that date, when it comes to the listing versus the designation of properties, staff thought that it would be a prudent move to move forward with some of the properties that we had already identified as being properties of interest. So the Arts, Culture, and Heritage Committee met, and they decided that there were really 5 properties of interest that we'd like to move forward. So at that point, 5 of those were already read by Councillor Manley. At that point, we, along with the support of the United Counties, Lindsay Parisien, and the chair, spoke with 3 of the property owners. And from that conversation, one of the property owners asked that we add another one of her properties as a notice to intent designation. So we decided to move forward with that, and there are 2 additional properties which belong to the Presbyterian Church. We contacted the Presbyterian Church in Canada, and we were told to send notices of intent directly to their head office in Toronto. So we didn't have the same type of conversation we had with the property owners here in North Glengarry. But what we did is we built the files after having met with these property owners who indicated that this was positive to them, that they were interested in moving forward with a notice of intent to designate. And you'll see that each property has background information as well as a request to designate. That was either filled in the past or for the 2 properties in St. Elmo, they were filled just prior to bringing the report to the Arts, Culture, and Heritage Committee. And through these reports and this background information, we're able to show that we meet the criteria under the Heritage Act for designation for all 6 of these properties. So if council approves the report tonight, staff would publish a notice of intent to designate, which identifies the 6 properties in the review on September 11th. At the same time, we'd post the information to the township's website, and we'd also put the information on Facebook. The property owners will receive the official notice of intent by mail, and they would have 30 days to respond back if they ever decided not to proceed with a designation. For the properties where there's no objection, we'd be bringing back a bylaw for council to approve. Once that bylaw is passed, the public then has an additional 30 days to bring comments forward or to object to the designation. Once that 30-day period finishes, the bylaw comes into effect. So from what we've seen with the property owners, and Councillor Manley can speak to that, they were enthused about the process and really encouraged that the municipality wanted to move forward in this direction, other than the 2 properties in St. Elmo where the status is unknown at this time. There are minimal costs for us to proceed with the designation. At this point, it's an ad in the review. There's some costs for the support that we received from the SDG planner, Lindsay Parisien. But we figure that having gone through this process now with the 6 properties, staff is going to be very well equipped to move forward with any other designations in the future. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Any questions or comments? Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you for all the work on this, Anne. I know that between you and
Camille?
Camille and Lindsay and
Ainsley.
Ainsley, this has been a lot of work. But, you know, like you said, once you get the groundwork in there, then you can just kind of repeat the process. There's a lot of good information in here on those properties. Tell me something, did that work come, remember when we did that heritage register, or no, heritage listings, and we went through all of the communities and hamlets, and we gathered all of this historical information on these buildings? Is that where this info came from?
So in part, when we identified buildings that would be of interest, yes, there's a whole Excel spreadsheet that must contain about 450 properties throughout North Glengarry. But there's also additional information that was gleaned through books and also through the archives, and that was the help of our archivist, Mr. McDonald. So we were able to put all this information together.
Yeah, because there's some really interesting stuff there, particularly with regards to the Indian lands.
Yes.
That where those 2 churches are located. And it's good to have that information on file for future reference, because I know that around the Arts, Culture, and Heritage table, we were, you know, trying to figure out what the history was behind there. And now that we've got it, we should hang on to it, that's for sure. Anyway, thank you for all this work. I think it's excellent.
Good. Go ahead, Councilor Martin.
Well, I like that by designating some of these houses as heritage buildings will help the owners get some funding to upkeep them. And I noticed one looked like it could use some little bit of TLC on the exterior. But I imagine there's grants and stuff for them to improve. And looking at the history on this Presbyterian church here, I looked up some Ralph Connor books, and it looks like there might be some local history there in some of his many books that he's written about the area. So I'm going to look into that.
Okay, thank you. Further questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. Moving on to review of community grant program guidelines. Councillor Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Madden, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry receive staff report CS 2024-23 Review of the community grants program guidelines for information purposes only.
Great, thank you. Ann?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So at the September 3rd meeting, the members of the Arts, Culture, and Heritage Committee performed their annual review of the community grants guidelines. So I'd like to share some interesting facts. So this program has been in place since 2009, and over the last 15 years, we've received 183 applications. From those 183 applications, 141 of them received support through the community grants. And those are events, they're activities that happen and that were appreciated by our community. In all, the township contributed over $407,000 in funds and $21,000 in in-kind funding for a total of almost $430,000. So over the years, the ACHC has refined the community grants program. Examples would be the inclusion of an in-kind form, which allows us to track staff time as well as the use of municipal equipment. And we've also added a second intake if there are any funds left over from the first intake. After the September 3rd review, the members felt that the community grants program should continue as is. If this is agreeable, the community grants program would be sent out by email to past recipients. It would also be posted to the township website, and it would be advertised through Facebook. This year's first intake would close on October 31st, and if there are funds remaining, the second intake would close on February 28th, 2025. So as always, the disbursement of the funds is conditional on council's approval of the program as part of the 2025 budget. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. Thank you, Ann, for your reports, and thank you for helping me out and Jacques out on Sunday to get somebody some help up to the arena, so thank you. Okay, moving on to Treasury Department 2023 Audited Financial Statements Review. Councillor Madden.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Martin, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry receive staff report TR 2024-16, 2023 audited financial statements review for information purposes only.
Okay, thank you. Welcome, Zoe.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The draft 2023 audited financial statements were presented on August 12th. Staff have since met with the auditors and prepared explanations for the questions asked during the previous meeting. One of the largest areas of concern was the deficit in the statement of operations. Figure 4 provides a detailed breakdown of these costs. The majority of the costs were attributed to the landfill post-closure estimate to adjust for new environmental assessments. This number is only an estimate of what will be required when the landfill is closed in the future. For reference, in 2022, it was estimated only $11,000. The auditors explained the difference being due to a new report becoming available in 2023 for the status of the landfill. It's not a cash entry, and staff don't agree with how it was portrayed. In the future, we'll be sitting down with the auditors and reviewing it prior to the financial statements. Other noticeable discrepancies were salaries and materials and services. Figure 6 provides a detailed breakdown of materials and services. The majority of services were necessary to operations, but we'll review them in the 2025 budget.
Okay. Deputy Mayor?
Thank you. Yes. I was just wondering if you could review a few of the numbers for us, please, to kind of put them in context, particularly where there's a significant difference.
Okay.
I'm looking at
Like user charges?
user charges. On that particular line,
Page
user
102.
charges.
Page 102.
Oh, that's
In the package.
in the package, yes, sorry, I don't know what it is.
Figure 2?
Figure 2,
Okay,
sorry.
thank you. So through you, Mr. Mayor, the difference is that the revenue was overestimated for user charges. We did not pull in as much money as we anticipated. So in our fees and charges bylaw, we have a section for user charges. We did not receive as much income.
If I may, Mr. Mayor, okay, yeah, I can see that. $284,000 is a lot. In what areas were those not realized?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I can pull together the figures and send you back a detailed breakdown of exactly what did not match compared to what we budgeted.
Okay, all right, so we don't know what area it's in at the moment, okay.
No.
Well, just for future, you know, we don't want to be
Mhm.
overestimating that revenue. If I may, Mr. Mayor,
Yeah, keep going.
down into, so now I'm looking at figure 4, and you've explained the landfill closure. I can't imagine how they gave you such a differing number. However, it sounds like it is what it is. There's nothing, and it's not
It's not an actual.
an actual.
No,
No.
so this is, through you, Mr. Mayor, this is just an estimate of what will be required. So we do budget for a certain amount each year to put towards this.
Mhm.
However, going from $11,000 in 2022 to $250,000, we couldn't have predicted it at the time because the auditors were doing the calculations and we did not have a chance to review prior. However, we will sit down and review that calculation, but it's not a cash figure at this time.
Right, gotcha. So then the salaries is that the 96,000? Is that just a little bit of salary here and here and here, or is it?
Yes, it is a combination of all the salaries throughout the township. From what I understand, it was just poorly budgeted and that there was salaries missed when the budget was created in 2023.
Oh, salaries missed. Okay. That's surprising. I'm just looking at the materials and services. So I understand that pricing has been very difficult. There's no question about that, and it's been that way since COVID. But it seems to me that, what was I looking at? Hang on a second here. Where's there that breakdown? Oh yeah, here we are, the materials and services in figure 6. And I understand, you know, with regards to the North Glengarry water treatment or sewer services, like, those things have to be done one way or the other. It's things like building property maintenance and supplies. So it seems to me that, when managers are managing their budgets, if they no longer have any budget left in that line item, that they stop spending money, one would think.
So, through you, Mr. Mayor, specifically that is to do with the Legion property in the administration. Like, there's some Legion support services, and then in the building maintenance, we had some additional costs that were attributed to that as well. So we're looking at that.
To dig out the foundation.
Yeah, we're looking at that. We've met with the Legion and with Carefor to look at proper budgeting go forward.
I see.
In sort of that exact thing. When you have something that happens where we met with Jackie and with the new president of the Legion as well. So we're going to be rectifying some of that go forward, that it's not that we're finding out about it right at the, when it's catastrophic, that we get some pre-notice and we can properly budget through Zoe.
Okay, well, yeah, well, that makes sense. Are we going to be able to sell that building to the Legion? No?
It's not a discussion for.
It's a question, that's all. Okay, and do we not have a contract with La Flèche for our waste acceptance fees?
Through Mr. Mayor, yes, we do. But these are 2023's numbers. We change in a new contract in 2023 for our acceptance. And so the ways that the previous contractor was essentially like weighing their tonnage as it was going in, it was mixed with other customers that they were doing, made it very, very hard for us to estimate the quantities. So it actually wasn't a factor of having a contract with La Flèche, and it's the type of number, we can show you the numbers for tonnage, that it really does vary up and down. So we pick a median amount, and then how much waste goes to the landfill is, you know, the amount of waste that goes to the landfill is nothing else we can really do with it. We are concerned going forward with the blue box regulations that as that changes and as the producers take over, the less waste is going to get diverted, and we're going to end up with more waste. But we really have no way of predicting that because we don't know what's going to happen. So we have a contract, it fixes the rate, but it doesn't fix the quantity. It just depends how much people use. So it's a tough one to estimate.
So we could end up in a, who knows?
We have ended up really below before because it just so happens people produce less waste that year, and sometimes we end up high. So.
Okay, thank you for that. And Zoe, thank you for the report. It's much appreciated.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Councillor Massey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On Deputy Mayor Williams' point, I remember like 10 years ago, maybe we had a policy that whenever there's an line item that's getting, I remember, I think we were talking about 10% over or something, and then the budget is blown completely. It would come to our attention as council because we're the one that's, it's just that, like, we're seeing this now, but it's just like just about a year later to the fact that we're getting this explanation. It's okay, but we are responsible for the overdrawn there. So is there such a, let's say you're doing your third quarter expense and revenues and stuff, and big red flags?
Well, they do that now,
Yes,
right?
when I bring my
Yeah.
variance report, sorry, can you respond?
So it's done now more
Yes.
properly than it was done in the past?
I believe the previous treasurer was also bringing a variance report, but I have been highlighting anything if it is over budget.
Okay, so
Or if it's getting close. Technically, I've been highlighting where we are in the year, so depending on the quarter, if it's over where it should be for that quarter, I've been flagging it.
Okay, so on the MSC hydro
Yes.
estimation of 60,000, and I have a hard time because we all know I was on the board of the arena in Alexandria, and it was all raised 80, 90, 100 grand per year or something. When there's a department that will underestimate a line item, is there a red flag? Are you going to be checking that too?
Yes, through Mr.
Yeah,
Mayor.
I'm surprised that we missed that, but
We will be reviewing all the hydro this year, all the energy costs.
okay.
Because there are a few that I've been highlighting in my variance report, so going forward, we will start looking at them.
Okay, because
Unfortunately, for something like hydro, we don't have a choice but to pay it for
No,
the service.
I know,
But
yeah.
we will work towards getting a more accurate reflection in the budget.
because of all the new infrastructure we put in there, like that actually should have went down a little bit because we did go upgraded that system, the lights and everything, but yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Further questions or comments at this point? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. Thank you, Zoe. Moving on to the Public Works Department, QMS Update 2024 Infrastructure Maintenance Rehabilitation and Renewal Review. Councillor Manley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Move by myself, seconded by Deputy Mayor Williams, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry receive staff report PW 2024-24 QMS Update 2024 Infrastructure Maintenance, Rehabilitation, and Renewal Review for information purposes only.
Okay, thank you. Welcome, Tim.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So as you know, we have a Alexandria and a Alexandria/Maxville and a Glen Robinson drinking water system. We have a quality management system that essentially that we've taken on, and essentially what we're looking to do is make sure that all our paperwork is reviewed and that management is involved in making sure that the operations run smoothly. So we do audits, external and internal audits, and they come to make sure that we're doing all the proper paperwork, all the reviews, making sure that we're checking our quality of our drinking water system. So this report is just to say that we've completed the infrastructure review for 2024, and that is looking at comparing ourselves to last year as well. Overall, we had a very good result, so our schedules and tracking forms were all in good shape. All equipment is accounted for and included for. Our staff changeover has been a recent concern, but we've filled those positions and the training is going well, so we're very happy with that. We had some delays in some of the maintenance biannual, annual paperwork completion, but that is up to date now. We had some internal equipment deficiencies, and we had running into some reporting issues with our Access E11, which is our work order system, and just how that was being used. Just an internal process that we're working on, and actually as the new staff get trained, it's going to become easier and easier just as they get more familiar with the system. We did have better results with the external contractors, just responding when we needed them and bringing us the services that we needed. I also reflect more on a more public works standpoint that we're getting a lot better results from contractors this year, which I theorize is due to sort of a bounce back from COVID-19 and everyone being out there hungry for work again. So our logging system is going well. We've got the ERIS logs, and they're consistent with Access E11 as well. We have had instances of lack of follow-up documentation for kind of capital work, so bigger projects, but because that was flagged in 2023, so we've watched that this year, and we've recently completed the Dominion Street project, and we made sure that all the construction documentation was completed for that ahead of schedule, so that is really good. We are, as a side note, currently $40,000 under budget for the Dominion Street replacement, which is good news. We are still waiting for the variable AC price for the asphalt work that is completed. It's not expected to be that much for that quantity, but we are very happy with the Waterworks team led by Dean to get that project done. So we've still got some areas of concern. So water loss is still something we're chasing down and is a big concern. We think we are really getting to the bottom of it. We have found some instances of contractors using hydrants who were not authorized to use hydrants. So taking water there, they are still compensating the township for using the hydrants. This would be under our major capital work, so or our partners' major capital work, such as the counties using Cornwall gravel to do the asphalt work along county road, along the county roads through Maxville. They're authorized to use it, but didn't have the proper processes set up. So that's something that actually putting in the water station and us just taking a closer look at the system and more communications between the roads department and the water department has really done well. So we're tracking that down. At Glen Robinson, we do have a few small issues. So it was fixed with the coupling leak on the main discharge. We do have concerns about mineral deposits inside the well casing. That essentially could be a capital item that we need to go and clean. And then intermittent ongoing issues with the chlorine pump and the dosing system. So that's really kind of our conclusion for our main points for the system. But there is the full report attached if anyone has any questions.
Councillor Madden. Any questions or comments from anyone? Nope, seems pretty, and thank you for dumbing it down for us a little bit, if that helps.
So Angela had to dumb it down for me.
Yeah. No, that's great. Okay, if there's no questions or comments, I'll call the question. All those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, and there are none opposed. Thanks, Tim. Oh, we still have one more. Proclamation Circular Economy Month. Deputy Mayor Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Massey, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry receive staff report PW 2024-26, proclamation of Circular Economy Month, and that the Township of North Glengarry hereby proclaims the month of October 2024 as Circular Economy Month. How did I get away without having to
I know
read
that,
something
not reading
long
the
and
whole
long and
thing.
long?
Like, what's going on with that?
Thank you, Jenna.
Tim, do you have anything?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to say that the Circular Economy Month is through the Circular Innovation Council, and it's asked communities, businesses, schools, and individuals across Canada to renew their commitment to circular economy, which is essentially an extension of what a lot of us, what has started and evolved over the years. We all remember reduce, reuse, recycle. This is taking a more global approach. What we use or what products you put into the system, you're also at the end of that product's life cycle going to take that back out and either reuse it or repurpose it. So that's the overall purpose, and we'll be putting out 4 social media posts through the weeks of October to raise awareness and education.
Awesome, thank you. Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. Thanks, Tim. Moving on to the consent agenda, Councillor Massey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Madden, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry receives the items from the consent agenda for information purposes only.
Thank you. Any questions on the consent agenda? Yeah, go ahead, Councillor Madden.
Just curious, how did we end up with all these now? What happened that, we're going back to October of 2023, we're going back a year ago. I thought we had most of these come through. I was just curious how we ended up with them. Anyone?
Jenna? Way back in.
It was brought to my attention that after reviewing the planning and committee of adjustment minutes, that they weren't actually brought to council once they've been approved through the other meetings. And as per our policies, we do have to bring committee meetings forward to the consent agenda during council.
Okay, thank you.
We'll meet after council. It wasn't me. Okay, all those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. And we are moving in camera. Proceed in closed session. Councillor Madden. Notice of motion. I don't have the notice of motion. Eh? Okay, I don't have the, so yeah, notice of motion Monday, Monday, September 30th, 6 p.m. here in the council chambers. And I can see there is no question period, and now we will go in closed session. Thank you, Councilor Mather.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Martin. Proceed in closed session as this matter deals with personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. They may be discussed in closed session under sections 239 2B of the Ontario Municipal Act. As this matter deals with proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of the land by the municipality or local board, they may be discussed in closed session under sections 239 2C of the Ontario Municipal Act.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor? Motion is carried.